Hey, South Park, back to you. Listen, it's been over almost an hour and a half. I made my first video. I was making my second video. It was pretty long, and when I went to upload it, it crashed. So hopefully it's saying it's uploaded, but being responsible, I'm going to make another video just in case, maybe a little bit shorter so it gets there quicker. All right, the very first thing I want to go back and review is the word symbiotic relationship. In a symbiotic relationship, you help me, I help you. So in this case, if you remember, in photosynthesis, plants help us, we help plants. Plants help us by giving us sugar, glucose, uh, and most importantly, oxygen. In exchange for our oxygen, we're going to give the plants carbon dioxide. So that is a symbiotic relationship. We help them, they help us. We help them, they help us. So that is very important that you need to know. Number one, you need to know this word, photosynthesis. Good morning, moms and dads. I'm stressing here because I get scared of the computer. I had everything working right and something goofy happened. So I wanted to be responsible and make sure there's another video up for your kids. The most important thing, one of the most important things I could teach you is the importance of photosynthesis. Now, if you remember, I said put a cute video of any dog or cat in there that you want, of a puppy or a kitten, okay? Without oxygen, humans and animals cannot survive. It's that simple. No matter how sweet and adorable you are, you don't have oxygen, you're not gonna live. Does everybody understand that? Hopefully, make sure you put that down. Notice that's in purple. Moms and dads, if you see things in purple, it's going to be on a test or the quiz. So make sure your son or daughter studies it. And if you're with grandma or granddad, good morning, grandparents. How you guys doing? All right. Plants make the oxygen that we need when they make food for themselves. When we breathe in oxygen, we breathe out carbon dioxide. Plants need carbon dioxide for photosynthesis. So when we breathe in, oxygen, carbon dioxide. Oxygen, carbon dioxide. So that's a give and take. That's our symbiotic relationship with plants, whether it's a tomato plant or an apple tree, an orange tree, a fig tree, broccoli, a rose bush, marigolds, whatever plant that you're talking. Personally, my favorite are the elephant plants. Those are the ones that have the real big leaf in the summertime. I love those. I put those a couple bulbs around my yard. So when we're breathing out, we're giving those plants carbon dioxide that they need. We breathe in, we're getting the oxygen that we need. And this is a symbiotic relationship, and I know you're sick and tired of seeing that picture, but it's so important. Sun gives energy to the plants. It also gets carbon dioxide from us, water from Mother Nature, and it gives us oxygen and plants, or oxygen and fruits, excuse me. And always remember, fruit is in that form of glucose, the fruit sugar. All right? Okay, what does it mean to be native? Now, this is where we're going to start talking about invasive plants and invasive animals. All right? I was born about 25 miles south of Pittsburgh, called a little town called Washington, Pennsylvania. That's where I-70 and 79 come together. I went to Trinity High School. That's where I was born. That's where I was raised, in little Washington, PA. So I'm a native of Washington, Pennsylvania. I'm a native of southwestern Pennsylvania. I belong here. Now, we're not going to get into the political discussions, this, that, or the other. We're only focused on plants and animals. What belongs here, what doesn't belong here. All right? Now, make sure that you put all this down. Like you, organisms have natural or native ecosystems where they were born and where they spend most of their lives. Now, moms and dads, we're going to put a picture of wherever your son or your daughter was born. If they were born in McKeesport, put down a picture. If you can find a picture of McKeesport, put that down. If not, put down downtown Pittsburgh. If they were born in Dallas, Texas, put one in Dallas, Texas. If they were born in Baltimore, put one in Baltimore. wherever they were born and raised, or excuse me, born, and eventually they moved to South Park, but wherever they were born, have them put that picture. Now, if you were born in a different country, be proud of that. Put that in your notes, all right? I just put in downtown Pittsburgh. Right here is Point State Park. This is where the NFL draft's going to be, right here, everybody. Right here. All right? Okay, sometimes by accident or on purpose, plants and animals move from their native ecosystem to another ecosystem. There are 5 ways. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, not 6 and not 7. 5, not 6, not 7, but 5. Here are the 5 common ways that they move. Okay, first one, trade. Sometimes plants and animals are traded or given to another country. All right? This is a goodwill gesture that, hey, I would like to give my country these flowers to America. All right? And Japan gave the cherry blossoms or the cherry trees to Washington, D.C. And if you go to the Cherry Blossom Festival, right around the last part of March, the cherry blossoms are in bloom. It is absolutely beautiful. Those cherry blossoms, however, don't belong in the United States. That type of cherry tree does not belong in the United States. We keep them under control so they don't go wild. All right. That is one type that we know that we bring it in here on purpose, that we're going to give it to you as a trade, as a goodwill offering, as a handshake, as a peace treaty, something like that, where we're going to give you something from our country or from another country gives to another country. All right. Another one is transportation. All right. This is where animals, I will even say, catch a ride on a ship, a car, a truck, or a plane. All right. Now notice I have the island of Guam right here. I'm going to explain that 1 second. I just want to put in a couple spaces right there. The island of Guam. All right. This is also happening right now in Puerto Rico. Well, actually, Puerto Rico is a different one. That goes down to pets, so I'll talk about that one in a couple seconds. All right. So you bring a big ship over. The big ship has pests inside of it. It docks in Baltimore, docks in Philadelphia, docks in Newark, wherever. Those pests, those animals get out, and then they go across the United States and they breed because they have no natural predators, all right? So that's what happens when they're brought to on a ship, a car, a truck, or a plane. Now, there's a little island called Guam. There's a little island called Guam. Now, it was very important during World War II. It was used as a place to store the Marines, their troops, ships, planes could refuel there when they were bombing Japan. Now, Guam was very important because it was like you could go from San Francisco or Los Angeles, getting to Hawaii, from Hawaii to Guam, Guam to the Philippines, Philippines, bomb Japan. It was very important. And it's still a very important military base right now. But what happened is during World War II, planes would land with their landing gear down. Obviously, they were sitting on their landing gear. Snakes would climb into the planes. Now, if you remember, there's a crazy movie when I was younger called Snakes on a Plane. Kind of what happened. These snakes got on these planes. They landed in Guam, which had no snakes on it. Beautiful birds, beautiful different types of creatures. These snakes got on this island. They had no natural predators. The birds never saw them, and the snakes got up into the trees, started killing the birds, eating the eggs, wiping out the population of the birds. So that is one example of how transportation can bring in invasive species that they are not wanted. All right. And next one, pest control. Now this one is designed to stop the spread of one. You bring in another one. This kind of goes out of control because you mean to do something good, and then slowly and surely the one animal that you brought in to control the other animal, gets loose and it starts to overbreed or overpopulate. Once again, another invasive species. Not a good situation. All right. The last one, number 4, is decorations. People bring in other plants from other countries. They don't belong. They take root and they spread out. People bring in plants or animals to a new land for decorations or to make things like look pretty, like your boy right here, your boy Anderson. Don't laugh at that. That was a pretty good line. So what happens is they bring in these plants and animals, right? Especially plants. Oh, it's so beautiful. I want it. And then they get loose and then they spread. Actually, there was an article. It was on KDK maybe about 2-3 weeks ago, where they're the botanical gardens out in Moon. They have an invasion of a plant, invasive species, and they burned everything. Burning killed the plant. It gives new nutrients to the roots for new plants to take root. And they're trying to control this invasive plant, invasive species. All right. And the last one are pets. Now, everybody wants these crazy exotic pets. And sometimes that's a good thing, but sometimes it's a bad thing. They get loose sometimes. Loose. Now, a couple years ago, I don't think there was any last summer, but maybe 2 or 3 summers ago, you can ask your parents, all around the city of Pittsburgh, all around Allegheny County, up in Lake Erie, there were alligators that were on the loose. Alligators that were invasive species. Now, we don't have to worry about alligators in southwestern Pennsylvania because of the climate, but there are certain parts of the country where people have pets and they let them loose. They get too big or they just can't control them anymore. They let them loose and then they spread, and that becomes an invasive species. A perfect example of this is in southern Florida. All right, the year was 1992. There was a warehouse facility that bred pythons. And then they would take these exotic snakes and then they would sell them. They would go to these reptile fairs and reptile parties and this, that, and the other, and they would sell the snakes. People wanted these things. It was Hurricane Andrew in 1992. That hurricane hit this facility, big warehouse, and unfortunately damaged the warehouse to the point where a lot of the snakes escaped. 1992. The snakes went into the Everglades. Everglades is a big swamp in southern Florida, very similar to their habitat in Southeast Asia. What happened is these snakes bred and bred and bred, had more and more babies. It started maybe out, let's just say, 300. There are some estimates that there's over 300,000. The problem is these Burmese pythons have no natural predators. They have no natural predators. And what's happened is they love to eat. And they have destroyed the natural habitat, the natural order of things, if you will, in the Everglades swamps. They have almost caused many animals to go extinct or become extinct. Rabbits, can't find them in the Everglades anymore. Raccoons, possums, they have become the apex, which means top predator in the Everglades. Well, what about the alligators? They are taking over the role of the alligator as a top predator in the Everglades. So, and people have known, or scientists have studied this because they've actually seen these Burmese pythons eat alligators, eat animals as large as deer. They are the apex predator. They do not belong. It's an invasive species. What is happening now is when the female lays its eggs, she can have as many as 12 to 15 eggs. They hatch, and then they go out looking for food. And they're starting to spread across Florida. Now, are they going to be in southwest Pennsylvania? No. The reason why you look outside, we have this wonderful stuff called snow in a winter, and they just can't survive a brutal winter. But they can spread across Florida. They can spread across Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, maybe as far north as Georgia, because their habitat is very similar to what they have in Southeast Asia. So these are pets that are now labeled as invasive species, and they're all over Florida. And keep in mind, if you go from, we looked at my room, if you go from the door to the window, that is, I believe, 33 or 34 feet long. These snakes can get up to 25, 26 feet and weigh well over 300 pounds. They are an invasive species, and they need to be controlled. So what I want everybody to do is, this is the third video that I made today, just to make sure everything's up there and posted. Make sure you have these things in your notes. The 5 common reasons for movements for species: trade, transportation, pest control, to be used as decorations, and pets. And when I say pets, they get released into the wild. So they can become invasive species very, very quickly. All right? So make sure you have those things written down. Make sure you have your notes caught up to date. And what I also want you to do is go back to the very beginning and review all your notes. Review all your notes. So you should be in good shape for later this week. Now, when we look at later this week, we're going to actually be looking at examples of invasive species that you can find in Southwest Pennsylvania and also the United States. One that we have to worry about Southwest Pennsylvania is actually, I have a picture of it coming up right here, is a snakehead. Now, we're going to talk about this one in depth. Now, this is a fish that, once again, was from Southeast Asia, and it got brought to the United States. Don't know how that one happened. But what happened is, this fish, and it looks like a snake, can live outside of water. It can actually walk, or maybe the best word is to use is crawl, from pond to pond, river to river, stream to stream. And once it gets in the river, they eat everything. And they're destroying the native fish that live in the waters around Southwest Pennsylvania. This fish is a big problem around Harrisburg. It's a big problem around Philadelphia. And it's a big problem around Washington, D.C. and the Potomac River, especially in the Potomac River. Now, people say they taste great. I've never had the chance to eat them. But they're starting to be hunted for food. People say they taste wonderful. I actually saw that on one of the cooking shows on the Food Network. Make sure that you're looking over all your notes and studying up, and I will see you hopefully on Wednesday. If you have the opportunity, go help your parents shovel the driveway, help your grandparents shovel the driveway. Be a good kid. Make sure you're catching up with all your social studies, your math, and also your English. All right? Take care. See you on Wednesday. Bye-bye.